Hello, and welcome back to our masterclass on temperaments. Today we'll be discussing the melancholy temperament. But before we get started, we just want to remind you why we love to teach about temperaments. Our hope is that as you understand your temperaments and the temperaments of others, you'll have a deeper appreciation for the way that you were created and designed and the way that your friends and family were created and designed. We believe that in understanding temperaments, you actually have a deeper love and appreciation for yourself and others, therefore strengthening your relationships. That's our goal in teaching this class and helping you understand your temperaments. Once again, today we'll be discussing the melancholy temperament. Remember that there are three categories in which we test for your temperament. They are inclusion, control, and affection. Today we'll be discussing melancholy in inclusion. Once again, I'm here with my wife, Dr. Amy, and we're going to be going over a temperament analysis review. Once you take the test, you'll get your review back, and this is a typical report that you're going to read. Dr. Amy?
So on the second page of the report, we have a page that breaks down. It tells you what temperament you are in inclusion and in control and affection. So remember that you could be three different temperaments. You could be a different one in each area. But today we're going to look at melancholy and inclusion, and we notice that there are expressed needs and wanted needs. So it measures how much we need, how much socialization we need, and then how much we express. What I like to see in these charts is when the lines are pretty close together. That means that the person knows what they want and they're able to express that well.
So they want it and they're able to express it.
Yes.
Now what happens when it's far apart?
When it's far apart, like some of the temperaments have a lot of wanted needs, but they express it very little. So
Okay.
they're very lonely or frustrated because their needs aren't getting met.
Right. Now the melancholy in inclusion, this one here.
Yes.
The expressed is a 1 and the wanted is a 0.
Yes. So this person wants very little socialization and then expresses just a little bit more than they actually want to.
So they're willing to go out every once in a while.
Yes.
But they'd rather stay at home.
Yes. That's
Right.
exactly what it is.
Okay.
So before I get into the meat of the melancholy, I just want to say that they are amazing. I love working with the melancholies. I'm fortunate to work with a number of them. There's two temperaments that really seek out counseling more than the others, and that's the melancholies and the supines. So my melancholies
Go on.
are very hard on themselves. When I do a temperament review, I have to preface that they are amazing, and I have to remind them that every temperament has weaknesses.
Okay.
The melancholy's eye goes right to the weaknesses and thinks, oh my gosh, I'm a terrible person.
Every single temperament has strengths
Yes.
and weaknesses, right?
Yes.
Or strengths and challenges.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
Okay.
And we don't need to keep our weaknesses. That's the goal of counseling, is to recognize all the strengths and really lean into those.
Great.
And weaknesses are an indicator of an unmet need. They usually pop up when something's not going on in our light. So we just use those as like a little indicator light, like the dashboard lights that check engine or low
Yeah.
fuel. So it tells us to dig a little deeper.
Beautiful.
And we learn the coping skills on how to deal with the weaknesses if and when they should arise.
So, what are some of the strengths of the melancholy?
The strengths, they are incredible thinkers. They have very high intellect.
Okay.
And their mind is always turning. They're very analytical. They've got the ability to look at a project and be able to see the end goal and
Yeah.
then systematically be able to break it down.
Very methodical.
Yes,
Creative?
very.
Really?
They are the most creative out of all the temperaments. There is always a stroke of genius in them. So
Wow.
most of the great composers, artists, writers that you've admired
Yeah.
are usually melancholies. So melancholies are introverted. They like a lot of alone time, and that's so that their brain has time to work and to create. So
Right.
they are considered introverts. That doesn't mean that they are antisocial. It doesn't mean that they can't be extroverted at times, but they always revert home. So some temperaments like to be on the go all the time, and home is jail, and that's not the same thing for the melancholy. The melancholy is a homebody. Home is a sanctuary.
Yeah, they're always going to find their way back home.
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
So instead of inviting them to the party, invite them over to your house.
Yes.
Okay.
They would love
Perfect.
that. So usually the melancholy has a small circle of friends.
Great.
They can have a ton of acquaintances, but there's only going to be a few people that really know, that they really open up to. So
Loyal?
extremely loyal.
All right.
Yes, they are probably the most loyal friend that you could ever have. If you're looking for a best friend, go find a melancholy. So
Perfect.
they have a very strong sense of right and wrong. So they keep secrets. They're very reserved with their own feelings, and then if you tell them something, they're a vault.
What happens if you hurt a melancholy?
That's hard because they let so few people into their inner circle.
Yeah.
Once you're in, and if you hurt them, they have a tendency to just want to shut down.
Right. That mind that's always working, it tends to remember things?
Yes. So the melancholy is known for having an emotional scorecard. They remember in great detail every offense.
Okay.
So it's really important to teach the melancholy how to forgive, how to turn off that voice. It's called rumination. That's when a thought replays over and over and over in our head. And the process of getting rid of that is by forgiving. And
Yeah. That's got to be tough.
yes.
All right.
But the melancholy is like, as they realize that it's really for them. And so that they can have a deeper sense of peace, of being able to let things go. And
Wow. So genius, creative, deep thinkers, loyal.
yes.
What other great qualities can I count on my melancholy friends for?
They're very task-oriented. They'd actually prefer to do a task than actually work with people.
Yeah.
Or if they are going to work with people, it's better to have a task in between them.
Right. Okay.
So they're a little more comfortable with that. They have such a great thirst for knowledge. They're always learning and growing, and that keeps them alive.
So one of the things I love about some of my friends, that when they're learning, it doesn't always mean that they're teachable.
Right.
How does a melancholy fit in that?
Melancholies are very teachable. That's why I love working with melancholies in counseling, because once they put their mind to something, nothing will stand in their way.
And that's probably why they come to counseling, because they're teachable.
Yes.
All right. That makes sense.
Yep.
Other positive qualities.
They have a lot of positive qualities. They really require truth, order, and reliability, and they will provide that for somebody too. So they are very stable. They're
Awesome.
I think that the one thing that the melancholy really struggles with is that mind that never shuts off.
Yeah.
It can go negative. So really being able to choose our thoughts and control them is very important for the melancholy.
That's perfect. Now, if I'm a melancholy, what's some of my biggest challenges, other than my mind's always racing?
There is something called the resting jerk face that the melancholies deal with.
Okay.
So melancholies are always deep in thought, and they're very shy. So when you put those two together, they kind of come off with this very stoic face, and it's unreadable. People don't know how to take them.
Yeah.
So let's say it's a woman and she's very pretty and she's just sitting there deep in thought and kind of scared that nobody's talking to her.
Right.
People have a tendency of thinking that she's stuck up or...
Yeah. Or something else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or something else.
All right. So she's at a party. She's deep in thought.
Yes.
All the guys are scared.
Yes.
And she's over there wondering why...
Nobody's talking to her.
Yeah, okay. It's that resting jerk face.
Yes. So I have to teach my melancholies that you can be shy and you can be scared, but learn how to smile so that you're a little more approachable. So...
Got it. So no keeping score.
Yes.
Learn how to smile.
Yes.
Right? If my mind is always worrying, not worrying, but always
Working.
working, great,
Yes.
that I should get it working on positive things.
Yes. Amen.
All right. What if I'm married to a melancholy? What should I be worried about? Or what should I be thinking about? Not worried.
The melancholy, keeping the house in order is very important to them. So
Yeah.
they have a mind that is always turning. They do better with clean spaces. Truth, order, reliability, and dependability are their core needs.
All right.
So people that are married to a melancholy think, oh gosh, she's so OCD, or she always has to have the house so clean and perfect. But if you want them to have a deep sense of peace and to be able to function at their highest capacity, meeting that need is very important.
So what are some temperaments that are kind of the opposite of a melancholy? Like you would be, if you're not married yet, you would maybe stay away from this temperament?
No. So the funny thing is that the sanguine is the opposite. So here's the spectrum, and the sanguine is the most extroverted temperament, and the melancholy is probably the most introverted. And a lot of times they do marry each other.
Really?
Yes.
And they get
attract.
along?
They can have a beautiful marriage. The sanguine is definitely going to want to socialize a lot more than the melancholy, but two melancholies together are going to be so serious and not go out and experience a lot of life. And two sanguines are probably going to just live like gypsies, and they have no
binge watching professionals. Two melancholies will kill Netflix together, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So so having a variance in the temperaments can be a really good thing. You can have the sanguine can teach the melancholy how to have a little more fun, but the melancholy can stabilize the sanguine so that they...
Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else I need to be concerned about?
The melancholy is one reason why it's really important to stay on your emotional health is because it can affect the physical health. So melancholies have a tendency to develop hypertension and ulcers and have insomnia. So if they don't get control of their thinking habits, it can lead to physical health problems.
I bet meditation is great for melancholy.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's about it for the melancholy and inclusion. And next in the next segment, we'll talk about melancholy and control.
Wonderful. Thanks for stopping by, gang. This was Melancholy and Inclusion with Roy and Dr. Amy. Thanks, gang.